if I'm going to shape this content, is there, Jess, is there a way that you kind of look at this when you're storytelling to get startups to better understand how to shape a story?
Yes. So I think maybe even an ongoing frustration sometimes, depending on who you're working with, can be from the PR aspect, helping companies understand that our audience is media and what do they want to hear. So everyone, obviously, as they should be super passionate about their company and think it's awesome, or their product, whatever that may be, goes without saying. Often when engaging with companies that maybe aren't as familiar with PR, they want to put together pieces that are very salesy. And so I constantly do have to gently remind clients that, yes, your product is awesome or your company is awesome, but it's how you tell that story in a non-salesy manner to the media. Often where this can become a little bit of a challenge is when you're putting together press releases, because again, often clients view it as a little bit of they can turn into sales pieces very, very quickly. So I would agree with Jody and Wendy that it's really understanding the audience for us is media. Of course, there's an end user, and of course you want to use what you're doing to create company conversions. That goes without saying too. But it's how do we get the media's attention? How do you build into that hook to the media so that they are interested, or what makes it valuable to them?
I used to suggest to entrepreneurs that they could do their own PR. They could create their own relationships with writers and editors, but I don't think that's the case anymore. So I'll do something that the other three members of the panel can't, and I'll recommend that they get someone who's a professional to advise them on this, because the news hole, as we call it, is just so small now. The opportunities to get in, the competition is so great that you need help to really shape that story, to understand what the media are looking for. If you want to know just how amoral the media are, consider if you were watching CNN this weekend or any of the news channels where 75 cities were having riots. And the media kept going back to the ones where there was fires or people pushing each other. That's what the media are interested in: conflict and change and chaos. And so you have to understand the need of media, not to tell conventional stories, not to show the cities where people are protesting calmly and in an orderly way, but they're after stories that will make people, as an editor friend of mine used to say, choke on their muffin. So you have to come up with a muffin choking idea that's going to get attention and say that, yeah, you deserve some coverage.
Media look for the exciting story, but so many of you may not have that yet. And so you still want to actually go out there with a message that's maybe a little bit more internally centered, and you can do that. So for example, a lot of the publications that you would actually target for editorial also have paid opportunities. Don't dismiss them. Take a look at them. And in fact, I'll give you an example of education in Canada in particular, the education vertical. They actually don't write about education companies or anything like that. Most of what they do is paid. And so one way to think about this is that make sure that your PR program is really balanced. And Ginny Dietrich from Spin Suck, she actually puts it really well. There's a PESO model, which is you're paid, you're earned, you're shared, and you're owned. And if you guys take a look at that, it's PESO. It will kind of give you sort of the holistic view of everything that is really integrated into PR and communication. It's not just about media relations. There's a much bigger picture in here. So I would definitely recommend that you take a look at that.
Yeah. It's good to have these, North Stars that you're trying to reach, these golden stars that I need these big hits. But the value that these other channels provide they allow you to create momentum. And so as you know, people need to hear a message more than once before it actually resonates. I think the number is up to 9 times, maybe 7 times before it actually engages. And while that's true for ads, it's the same for any message. And so when you think about whether it's PR, media relations, or any kind of capacity, it's all your external voice. So your audience needs to hear your voice and hear your message more than once. So what happens with these multiple channels, and whether it was like bloggers and radio and maybe even local media in some cases, and owned and earned, is that it creates momentum and allows you to actually get in front of people more than just this one article in this one day and that one big story.